In a world awash with intricate networks of trade, diplomacy, and conflict, it's easy to feel like pawns in a game played by forces beyond our comprehension. We witness the rise and fall of empires, the eruption of conflicts, and the implementation of policies that reverberate across continents, leaving many to wonder who truly holds the reins of global power. This question, both simple and profound, lies at the heart of Noam Chomsky's incisive work, Who Rules the World? Chomsky, a renowned political philosopher, a linguist and social critic, invites us to shed our preconceived notions and delve into the often murky waters of international relations. He challenges us to look beyond the pronouncements of politicians and the headlines of news outlets to discern the underlying structures and motivations that shape our world. This is not a task for the faint of heart, as it demands a critical eye, an ability to question assumptions, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Understanding the dynamics of global power is not merely an academic exercise. It is essential for engaged citizenship in an increasingly interconnected world. The decisions made in distant capitals, often behind closed doors, have a direct impact on our lives, influencing everything from the price of goods to the outbreak of war. By equipping ourselves with the knowledge to understand these power structures, we empower ourselves to participate more effectively in shaping a more just and equitable world. This exploration of Chomsky's seminal work will serve as a guide through the labyrinth of global power, illuminating the historical forces, key actors, and economic levers that shape our present reality. As we embark on this journey, let us remember that knowledge is power, and that by understanding the forces that shape our world, we take the first step towards reclaiming our agency and building a future that reflects our collective values. Section 2. Unveiling the Architects of Global Influence. Table of Contents, Part 2, Act 1, about 4 sections. 1. Echoes of Empires, the historical shaping of global power. 2. The rise of the American Colossus. 3. The allure and illusion of the free market. 4. Seeds of dissent challenging the established order. To truly grasp the complexities of the present, we must first turn our gaze to the past. The global power dynamics we witness today are not merely the product of recent events, they are the culmination of centuries of historical forces, each leaving its indelible mark on the world stage. As Chomsky argues, understanding this historical context is essential for deciphering the often hidden motivations and strategies of the powerful. From the rise and fall of empires to the emergence of new ideologies, history provides a rich tapestry of power struggles, shifting alliances, and transformative events. The colonial era, for instance, witnessed European powers carving up vast swathes of the globe, exploiting resources and subjugating populations in their relentless pursuit of wealth and dominance. The legacies of this period continue to cast long shadows, shaping contemporary political boundaries, economic disparities, and social inequalities. The 20th century witnessed 2 devastating world wars, reshaping the geopolitical landscape and giving rise to new superpowers. The Cold War, with its ideological battles and proxy conflicts, further entrenched divisions and fueled a global arms race. These historical events, while seemingly distant, continue to inform contemporary power dynamics, shaping alliances, rivalries, and the distribution of military might across the globe. Chomsky urges us to resist simplistic narratives that portray history as a linear progression towards enlightenment. Instead, he encourages us to delve into the complexities, contradictions, and often brutal realities that have shaped our world. By understanding the historical roots of global power, we gain a deeper appreciation for the forces that continue to shape our present and influence our future. Section 2. The Rise of the American Colossus. Table of Contents, Part 3, Act 2, about 4 sections. 1. The American Century, a legacy of power and paradox. 2. The Military-Industrial Complex, a symphony of influence. 3. Economic statecraft shaping the global chessboard. 4. The Soft Power Paradox, cultural influence and its discontents. The aftermath of World War II saw the emergence of the United States as a global superpower, ushering in what many have termed the American century. This period witnessed an unprecedented expansion of American military, economic, and cultural influence across the globe, shaping the destinies of nations and leaving an indelible mark on the international order. However, as Chomsky astutely observes, this legacy is fraught with contradictions, marked by both triumphs of democracy and the shadows of interventionism. On the one hand, the United States has championed itself as a beacon of freedom and democracy, promoting ideals of self-determination, human rights, and the rule of law. Its economic might has fueled global trade and innovation, while its cultural exports have influenced everything from fashion to music to cinematic storytelling. In many ways, the American century has witnessed a convergence of nations towards shared values and aspirations, fostering unprecedented levels of interconnection and collaboration. Yet, Chomsky argues, this narrative of American benevolence often masks a more complex reality. The pursuit of global dominance has often come at a cost, with the United States engaging in covert operations, supporting authoritarian regimes, and intervening militarily in the name of national security or economic interests. These actions, often undertaken in the shadows, have fueled anti-American sentiment, destabilized regions, and raised questions about the true nature of American power. Chomsky challenges us to reconcile these seemingly disparate aspects of the American century, acknowledging both its positive contributions and its more troubling legacies. Understanding this duality is essential for comprehending the complexities of global power dynamics and the multifaceted role the United States continues to play on the world stage. Central to Chomsky's analysis of American power is the concept of the military-industrial complex, a term coined by President Dwight D. Eisenhower in his farewell address. This interconnected web of military leaders, defense contractors, and government officials, Chomsky argues, exerts an outsized influence on American foreign policy, often prioritizing military solutions and perpetuating a culture of militarism. The United States boasts the largest military budget in the world, dwarfing that of its nearest competitors. This vast expenditure, Chomsky contends, is driven not solely by legitimate security concerns, but also by the vested interests of those who profit from a perpetual state of war or preparation for war. This creates a powerful incentive for policymakers to prioritize military spending, even at the expense of social programs or diplomatic initiatives. The influence of the military-industrial complex extends beyond budgetary decisions, shaping public discourse and influencing perceptions of national security threats. Through lobbying efforts, media influence, and the revolving door between government and defense industries, this powerful network ensures that military solutions remain at the forefront of American foreign policy. Chomsky's critique of the military-industrial complex is not an indictment of the military itself, nor is it a call for pacifism. Rather, it is a call for greater scrutiny of the forces that shape defense policy and a recognition of the inherent dangers of unchecked military influence in a democratic society. It is a reminder that true security lies not only in military strength, but also in diplomacy, international cooperation, and a commitment to addressing the root causes of conflict. Chomsky argues that to truly understand the mechanics of global power, one must look beyond the pronouncements of politicians and the maneuvering of armies, and instead focus on the often overlooked realm of economics. He posits that it is in the boardrooms of multinational corporations, the halls of international financial institutions, and the intricate web of global trade where the true levers of power are pulled. This economic realm, often shrouded in complex jargon and presented as a neutral force of nature, is, in Chomsky's view, anything but. He challenges the dominant narrative of neoliberal economics, a doctrine that espouses free markets, deregulation, and minimal government intervention as the path to prosperity for all. Chomsky argues that this ideology, far from being a neutral arbiter of economic activity, is a carefully constructed system designed to benefit the wealthy and powerful at the expense of the majority. He points to the increasing concentration of wealth in the hands of a select few, the widening gap between the rich and the poor, and the exploitation of labor in developing countries as evidence of this inherent imbalance. Chomsky argues that the language of free trade and open markets is often used to mask the reality of economic coercion and exploitation. He highlights the role of powerful nations in shaping global trade agreements to favor their own industries, often at the expense of developing countries struggling to compete on an uneven playing field. These agreements, he contends, serve to entrench existing power structures and perpetuate a system of global economic dominance. Furthermore, Chomsky points to the role of international financial institutions such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank in perpetuating this system. These institutions, while often presented as neutral arbiters of economic development, are, in Chomsky's view, instruments of Western economic power, imposing strict austerity measures on developing countries in exchange for loans, often leading to devastating social and economic consequences. Section 2, Bretton Woods and Beyond, Architecting the Global Financial Order. To understand the roots of the current global economic order, Chomsky takes us back to the aftermath of World War II, specifically to the Bretton Woods Conference of 1944. It was here that the victorious Allied nations, led by the United States and Great Britain, gathered to establish a new international monetary system. This system, designed to prevent a repeat of the economic turmoil that followed the First World War, laid the foundation for the post-war economic order. The Bretton Woods Agreement established the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, pegged to the price of gold, and created the IMF and the World Bank to oversee the global financial system. While initially intended to promote stability and cooperation, Chomsky argues that this system ultimately served to solidify American economic dominance and entrench a system of global financial governance that favored the interests of the West. The collapse of the Bretton Woods system in the early 1970s, marked by the United States' decision to abandon the gold standard, ushered in an era of floating exchange rates and financial deregulation. This period, often championed as an era of increased economic freedom and prosperity, also saw the rise of speculative financial markets, increased volatility in global capital flows, and a series of financial crises that disproportionately impacted developing countries. Chomsky argues that this era of financialization, far from being a natural evolution of market forces, was a deliberate project by powerful actors to further consolidate their control over the global economy. He points to the role of neoliberal economists and policymakers in promoting deregulation, privatization, and the free flow of capital, policies that ultimately serve to concentrate wealth and power in the hands of a global elite. Section 1, Beyond the Ballot Box, People Power in the Age of Globalization. Chomsky critiques power structures but sees hope in collective action. He argues that the will of the people can create a just world. Through organized movements, ordinary individuals can challenge the status quo. Power is dynamic, constantly contested in the public sphere. Historical movements show the transformative power of collective action. From civil rights to anti-apartheid, social movements have driven change. Grassroots mobilization can achieve systemic change. Global interconnectedness fosters solidarity across borders. Technology enables global activist networks to coordinate actions. This interconnectedness can counter global capitalism and state power. Chomsky warns against romanticizing social movements. Movements face obstacles like state repression and media manipulation. Strategic planning and sustained struggle are essential for change. Section 2, The Information Battlefield, Shaping Narratives, Challenging Hegemony. In an age dominated by information technology, Chomsky argues that the battle for hearts and minds is just as crucial as any physical confrontation. He recognizes the profound influence of media and propaganda in shaping public perception, often serving as a tool for those in power to manufacture consent for their agendas. Chomsky contends that powerful states and corporations invest heavily in controlling the narrative, framing issues in ways that serve their interests and marginalizing dissenting voices. Chomsky challenges us to become critical consumers of information, questioning the narratives presented by mainstream media outlets and seeking out alternative sources of news and analysis. He encourages us to look beyond the headlines and sound bites, to delve deeper into the complexities of issues and to challenge the assumptions and biases that often underlie dominant narratives. However, Chomsky also sees the potential for technology to be a powerful tool for democratization and dissent. The rise of independent media outlets, citizen journalism, and online platforms for information sharing has created unprecedented opportunities for individuals to circumvent traditional gatekeepers of information and challenge established narratives. Chomsky argues that the internet, while not a panacea for the ills of the world, has the potential to empower individuals, facilitate the free flow of information, and provide a platform for marginalized voices to be heard. He stresses the importance of utilizing these tools responsibly, however, cautioning against the spread of misinformation and the dangers of online echo chambers that reinforce existing biases. The urgency of awareness. Knowledge as a catalyst for change. Chomsky's work reveals that power structures are human constructs, not immutable forces. By understanding and challenging these structures, we can demand a more just and equitable world. Apathy and ignorance are not options. We must engage, question, and seek justice. History shows that collective action can overcome great obstacles. In this spirit, we find hope and inspiration for the road ahead. Challenging the illusion of inevitability, reclaiming our collective agency. Power creates an illusion of inevitability, making us believe the current order is unchangeable. We are bombarded with messages reinforcing this narrative. This illusion stifles dissent and makes us feel powerless. Chomsky challenges us to break free and reject this mental prison. Power structures rely on our consent and acquiescence. Reclaiming our agency requires critical thinking and demanding accountability. Educate, organize, and make our voices heard. The enduring power of Chomsky's insights, a call to action. Noam Chomsky's work, while often critical of the structures of power that govern our world, is ultimately a testament to the enduring power of hope, reason, and the human spirit. He reminds us that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges, we are not powerless. We have the ability to question, to challenge, and to demand better from those who claim to represent us. Chomsky's insights are as relevant today as they were when he first began writing about the dynamics of power, propaganda, and social change. His work serves as a roadmap for navigating the complexities of our interconnected world, providing us with the tools to critically analyze information, to challenge dominant narratives, and to engage in meaningful action. The responsibility to create a more just and equitable world rests not solely on the shoulders of politicians, policymakers, or those in positions of authority. It falls on each and every one of us to become informed, engaged citizens, willing to challenge the status quo and to demand better for ourselves, our communities, and future generations. Who Rules the World is not simply a book to be read and then shelved. It is a call to action, a challenge to engage in the ongoing struggle for a more just and equitable world. It is a reminder that knowledge is power, that silence is consent, and that the future is not something that happens to us, it is something we create. Towards a more just and equitable world, navigating the path ahead. The path towards a more just and equitable world is not a clearly defined one, nor is there a single blueprint for achieving it. It is a journey fraught with challenges, setbacks, and the constant need to adapt to changing circumstances. However, by embracing the principles of a critical thinking, collective action, and unwavering commitment to justice, we can navigate the path ahead with a renewed sense of purpose and hope. We must start by acknowledging the interconnectedness of our world, recognizing that the challenges we face, from climate change to economic inequality to the rise of authoritarianism, transcend national borders and require global solutions. We must reject the politics of division and fear, embracing instead the power of empathy, solidarity, and cooperation. We must empower ourselves and others with knowledge, recognizing that education is the cornerstone of a just and equitable society. We must support independent media, challenge misinformation, and engage in open and honest dialogue about the issues that matter. We must hold our leaders accountable, demanding transparency, integrity, and a commitment to serving the interests of all, not just the privileged few. The journey ahead will be long and arduous, but it is a journey worth taking. For in the pursuit of a more just and equitable world, we not only create a better future for ourselves and generations to come, but we also honor the highest aspirations of the human spirit, the desire for freedom, dignity, and the opportunity to live in a world where all beings can thrive.